guys, Doc Holly here. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's such a blessing to always to have you guys come and kind of take part of these topics that are presented. And I thank you so much for being willing to help me to kind of maneuver through them and to give answers, to shed light, to help some of the people and ourselves on this journey. I wanted to talk about a particular topic today, and it's the why am I still single question that often gets asked in conversations that I have with men and women alike. And so often what is happening is that I come into contact with men and women who are like, I deem that I've had numerous of what I see as unsuccessful relationships. And as a result, it almost feels like that they probably are like the victim of something. Like, what is going on in my life? And so with that, you can pose a question as to the why, but then it really does, for me, especially having a background in psychology, I'm going to be like, there may be some self-sabotaging behaviors that may be actually a key part of why you do what you do. So I just wanted to kind of see if we can hit on 8 areas that could be reasons why these people are still single, why you are still single. But more importantly, I want to talk about this because there's nothing wrong with being single, first and foremost. And because there are some people who choose to be single because they just choose to be. They are simply not interested in a serious relationship at this time in their life. And that's the reality. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But for some people, there are some internal challenges. So I really wanted to dive into that and to address it. So when it comes to dating, it can be very challenging, right? And it's not very difficult to put yourself in a position to where you may, in essence, feel like a victim. After all, this whole, if you listen to a lot of the stories that single people tell, this dating era is cruel. It's cruel. And so you will definitely get hurt. And so it isn't always your fault. And that is a reality. So I definitely wanted to kind of take a look at the reasonings, some of the reasons as to why, and know that this is not the end all be all. I'm sure that there's so many more, but we're just going to touch on the basis of some of those. And my first point that I want to make today is actually the point of being defensive, or most people have been in relationships to where they've been hurt, and with time, those painful experiences that you've had, it's like you risk building up this wall that says that I don't want this to happen again, so now I'm very, very guarded. So this is your defense mechanism. So what has happened is that when you become defensive like this, a lot of times what is happening is that you're looking for the reason why they don't fit the bill. Okay? And so you really need to pay attention to that, because this is actually a self-sabotaging behavior. When our defenses are so high that really everyone that comes to the door, you begin to assess everything that you don't want, everything that's not right, etc., without being able to look at the good. So I wanted to pinpoint that reason. The number 2 I want to also focus on today is unhealthy attractions. I had to go there. Now listen. Now when we act on our defenses, a lot of times what will happen is that you will tend to choose less than ideal relationships. Those partners, they're not ideal for you. So you have to be very in a place to where you've definitely done a measure of healing. I'm not saying that you have to be, whole, because no one is perfect, but there is some work that should be done when you come out of a relationship and that relationship has been toxic, or it has been one that has caused you some type of great pain, something that you need to learn and grow from. All things in my opinion, you need to learn and you need to grow from. And so as a result, you may establish some unsatisfying relationships by selecting people who may not be emotionally available. Been there, done that. So it's very important that a lot of times you'll hear people are empathetic as a result, They will gravitate and have a heart where they're pouring out to a person that they're not necessarily emotionally available, but you're more emotionally available for them. And so we tend to do this and gravitate towards unhealthy attractions because many people fear, have fears of intimacy. Just like this very critical thought process they may have had in their mind. There's so many reasons as why, but I want to go to my next point because I did bring up fear of intimacy, which is my third point. Is that when we have fear of intimacy, right, which is another self-sabotaging, getting tongue-tied behavior, is your fear that surrounds that may manifest as concerns over someone liking you too much. You may not want to get connected to them or show affection or, wanting to be vulnerable, and putting yourself in that place right now. And again, it's all based on the fact that you've had this past experience and you're like, wait, let's, stop the press. I don't want to go this, far, et cetera, et cetera. And this, again, is a self-sabotaging behavior. Another one is pickiness. And so again, it is a defense mechanism to where you can put yourself in a place to where you're nitpicking on everything. Again, this goes back to a point that I was making, with my first point, is that you'll find yourself looking for almost the bad, the things that you don't want to happen versus what is it that you do want. And so we have to be very careful about being picky. The fifth point that I want to make is low self-esteem. Now, a lot of people don't like to acknowledge that, they may have a sense of low self-esteem, but it is a reality. It really is. And so, many people that I've spoken with, they've expressed that they have it and they acknowledge it, but there are so many that believe that they don't. Many people want these fulfilling relationships, and in reality, if you don't examine yourself and to find out, why are you choosing the way that you're choosing and ended up with the same results, it very well could be the root issue of low self-esteem. So definitely want to point that out. It's very important. Sometimes people will choose the wrong partner because they feel like that they're unattractive, that they're fat. These are things that you may tell yourself in the mirror, that you're too old, that you're too different. All these things are just crazy. And so when you listen to that inner voice, what happens is that you engage with the behavior that actually pushes people away. And so that's one of the things that you don't want to do and that you want to conquer. Another point that I want to make that is self-sabotaging is fear of competition. I don't like that word. A lot of times when you have this lack of self-esteem, it often leads to this fear of competition. If you don't feel good about yourself, then if you are in a position to where you feel like you have to compete, then you're going to pump the brakes. Okay? You just are. And it's easy to put ourselves down in relations to others. So it very well may be that, this person is choosing them because they look this way and everything, so I don't even want to deal with that. So you don't. That is another reason why people, in essence, are not having successful relationships. And so with that, when you have this fear of competition, what happens is it can lead us to a place to avoid putting ourselves out there. And you got to get out there if you're going to really date. You have to be vulnerable enough. Another point that I wanted to make is isolation and being routine. Listen, you're not going to connect with anybody staying in your house. Okay? It's just not going to happen. And then being routine, doing the things that feel comfortable to you and just staying the course, it's just not going to happen. And so you have to encourage yourself to be able to pull yourself out of that rut, to get out and to do things that are fun, even if it's for the sake of you, doing them alone. But finding things that make you happy. But you don't want to cultivate a sense of isolation and always doing things that are routine, because that right there will keep you in a rut because you're not being visible enough so that you can put yourself in the right audience to attract the right people. Okay. And so, last but not least, rule making. Listen, when it comes to rule making, I think you hear it often at times is that so many times that you have like this laundry list of things that kind of pops out, and it's like you know what you want, and you're very headstrong on it, and you're gonna stay to it. But I think that it's very important that you be open minded, um, especially if you really want a partner, to a lifetime partner that you're gonna live your life with. And so to be able to push past, all the rules that you may set for yourself, that this needs to be like this needs to be like this, it just needs to be reasonable. A lot of times the rules that are being made are not within reason. They're made based off of past experience, and they're not realistic. So really, when you get to a place, you will understand that seeking love isn't easy. It should be challenging, but it is possible. But you don't want to do the things that we've talked about today and continue to put yourself in a place of self-sabotaging your opportunities simply because you're fixated on your past experiences, okay? So again, I hope this has been helpful for you. Would love to hear from you. Thank you so much again for tuning in, because when the doc speaks, you owe it to yourself to listen. So until the next time that we touch base with each other, you guys take care of yourself. See you soon. Bye.